Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 1 Million Cups this morning. My name is Milton Jeffrey. I'm one of the organizers here, and I'm also here with Courtney, Lance, Britton, and Brian. Welcome, everyone. Today, we also have two panelists with us. I'd like them to just say a quick hello and a quick introduction of who they are.
My name is Ilya Tabak, and I have a consulting company in town called Somametric. We help companies be intentional, measure, and deliver experience in the physical space, and I'm also working on a pretty cool fantasy football startup.
My name is Bob Martin. I'm the defending champion in my own personal fantasy football league, so I'll be looking forward to some insights next year. I am a minority shareholder in Martin Marketing. My wife has been running that business now. It's a sales and marketing strategic and tactical consulting firm. We've had that business for 13 years. I also do some work in digital archiving and a social media business, and am a big proponent of encore entrepreneurism, and love to see those of you who are over 45 starting your business and figuring out what your what's next journey is as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we get started, we want to welcome any of our first-time visitors. If you're here for the first time today, would you just kind of wave your hand so we can see you? All right. Excellent. Thank you for coming. Do we have any of our weekly veterans here today? All right. We see you out there. For our first-time visitors, I just want to let you know real quick what 1 Million Cups is. It's a weekly entrepreneurship program where we have two presenters come. Each of them present their stories about their journey for about 6 minutes, and then from there we open it up to the audience for Q&A. During that time, it's about 20 minutes. If you have a question after the panelists start, all we ask is that you just raise your hand, and one of us will be moving around with the microphone, and we'll try to get to you as quick as we can. So our first presenter today is from Family Stories. We're going to welcome Emily Lovelace to the stage.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. When my husband graduated high school, his dad gave him a collection of journals that he'd been collecting over the last 18 years. These were journals about milestones, memories, family events, sporting events, everything that he'd been doing for the last 18 years. And now we have that in our hands to go back on forever. My father-in-law certainly set the bar pretty high as far as collecting these memories. I consider myself a pretty amazing mom, but I've certainly failed at collecting these memories for my children. I've tried Word documents, blogs, and my most successful thing has been the photo books that you can do on Shutterfly or many applications. But they just weren't offering enough for me. I wanted those stories. I wanted to be able to collect the milestones for my children. So on a Saturday, almost exactly a year ago today, I went to my husband, I said, I have the most brilliant idea. Doesn't that always happen when you get these ideas, right? We researched it. We roughly developed the idea. We hired a website developer. We didn't really coincide with that website developer, so we fired him. We lost a little bit of faith, and then I went to a very good friend of mine with startup experience. I was told to check out 1 Million Cups. Thank you, Callie with Roxy's, I believe she is here today, for sending me here. Because this is where I met Michael with Legendary Phoenix. And now here we are, two startups that met at 1 Million Cups, presenting an idea that we both believe in.
Good morning, everyone. I am Michael Peterson, co-founder of Legendary Phoenix Studios. We started our business with a vision of sparking a revolution in the gaming industry by enhancing the social aspect and bringing together gamers and non-gamers alike. Our journey through 1 Million Cups holds promise that we can network and grow our business in Kansas City. Here I met Emmy Lovelace, who was waiting to network with a potential contact after a presentation. It wasn't until our paths crossed that I realized two very important facts. First, every chance you take to introduce yourself and tell your story is a chance to accomplish great things with others in this community. And second, I had joined the line at the wrong end and was cutting in front of 12 people. As our missions are different, I decided that to work with Emmy in building her site was a great chance to collaborate with a fellow startup. while improving as a developer myself. Through this foundation, we partnered with the Memory Preservation Company as an effort to create a powerful tool that will help families illustrate their greatest moments. Thank you.
One of the struggles we had when we started was that we didn't want all of these family events to be shared through social media, because some stories are meant to be shared with the world through social media, Twitter, Facebook, all those things. But Family Stories has created a more intimate way in which to share these milestones and moments with family and friends, but keep it in an intimate setting so that not everybody can have access to it. There are 3 basic things I want everybody to be able to do with Family Stories. I want them, and these are just very basic, we have so many ideas, but I want everybody to be able to write down their stories and connect them to pictures in this intimate setting that only they have access to. I want them to be able to save these memories for however long they choose. And then I want them to be able to print them into beautiful memory books, like what you get from Shutterfly and something like this that we have done on our website so far. So why isn't everybody writing down their family memories, connecting them with beautiful pictures, and printing these books? Our first problem is that we forget. It is in our mind to write down baby's first steps, details about a family trip, or a weekend with grandparents. But we get caught up in our everyday life and we just forget to do it. This was my struggle with the blogs and the Word documents. I would write in a book and I'd write all these wonderful things, and then I would forget for 6 months. And I missed so many things in those 6 months when my children are so young, doing so many things. Our second problem is a lack of creativity. It's a very common problem for most. If you sit down in front of a blank sheet of paper, you can't just write whatever comes to mind because nothing will come to mind for most. Family Stories has created a database of questions, much like what you'll find in the little baby books that you get from the bookstore. They have those questions that are supposed to inspire the stories and memories and write about them. Things about baby's weight, who was at the hospital when they were born, things like that. And problem number 3, we're just too busy. Did I mention before that I'm the mother of 2 and I have a full-time job on top of starting this business? I totally understand busy. In my mind, Family Stories is designed for the busy parent, the parent who cherishes those 10 minutes after the kids go to bed and before passing out from exhaustion. It's supposed to be easy, simple, and fast to get your stories into this book setting. So if you go to our website today, I cannot promise everything is functional. We actually are still in development. We were supposed to launch in November, and then it was December, and now we're really searching for March 1st. But you'll be able to see what we're about, and you'll be able to do a couple basic things. So check us out. We're getting there. I hope to have everything up very soon. And in conclusion, memory is such a complicated yet fun part of our life. Family Stories is here to make it simple and easy to preserve all those family memories.
Thank you, Emmy. We'd like to get started with our panelists if you have some questions that you'd like to lead out with.
So it sounds like you're going for a March launch. So has anybody actually transacted on your website? Where are you in the company? So is it concept? Is it kind of prototype? A little bit more detail around that.
We're kind of just pre-beta testing. I think we have one more aspect that has been developed that just hasn't been put into the website yet, which is the actual collecting stories. They've done everything to save the stories, and we have everything to send it to production. We have a book producer out in Maryland that's working with us. That's where we made this book. We have all of our templates. We have the questions. We just need that final aspect from the developmental team to go into the website. So I think we're very close.
Yeah, I guess as you go through that process of beta testing and launch, think about the behavior part. So you're asking somebody to save and then come back and print, there's a couple things that you're actually asking them to change their behavior on, and making sure that you're seeing the things that you expect is going to be pretty important on whether this thing's going to be a part of everybody's daily life or something that they check out once and not. So the one thought and comment.
First of all, congratulations. It's an exciting journey. It's harrowing. It's isolating. But your smiles tell the whole story. So congratulations for having the courage to come up here today. The good news is you're in a safe harbor. The bad news is it's full of pirates this morning. So hopefully you'll take all the questions in stride and look at it as an opportunity to learn and grow your respective businesses. So congratulations again. And I'll start with really a fundamental question. What's your goal for the business?
Our goal is to become a household name. I know right before I go to bed, I go onto Facebook or Pinterest or something like that. If you spend 5 minutes on our website along with those others, that's my goal.
So what are your business goals then? And how will you measure that success?
I'm working on how to measure them still. As far as business goals, by the end of the year, I have every intention to have 5,000 customers signed up with us. I have my plans in order to make that happen.
So talk through that a little bit. So how does that intention actually technically, who are your customers? Is there kind of a group, a persona, or is it anybody that wants to save a story? Talk through how do you get in front of X number of customers and then turn some percentage of them into the 5,000 customers that you talk about?
Right. I mean, obviously everybody's going to sign up because it's a brilliant idea. But in order to get in front of them and get them to sign up, we're doing a few of these presentations. We will focus on things like maternity wards, hospitals, daycares, schools. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get into schools or not. But I'm also doing a few mommy conferences along the West Coast and down south in Texas.
And in those conversations, are you signing people for mailing lists, social media? Talk about your success so far and kind of reaching out. Or is this the first? If this is the first presentation, okay, all right. Jump the gun there a little bit, sorry.
I appreciate your honesty and candor relative to the site functionality. I did visit the site last night. So 2 questions, because I wasn't clear. Are you, on your revenue model, are you charging for the books? That's a yes. And then the bigger question is, and you really addressed the elephant in the room, how do you propose to separate yourself from what is a very, very crowded category? From the big greeting card company around the corner to, you mentioned Shutterfly, to similar startups in every major metropolitan area. What's your plan to become that household name where others are already years ahead of you?
Well, the way I see it, we're the only ones right now that are taking the true baby book concept where you have those inspirational questions and you have that help in writing these memories down. I don't see that in a computer-based format. At least I haven't been able to find it. If somebody finds it, I would certainly love to know about it. But that's one of the biggest things that I've gotten feedback from family and friends when I talk about this website, because when I say I want them, write down your family memories, write down everything about a trip that you took last summer, you just go blank. You need those questions to start saying, okay, yeah, we did this. Oh, we saw these people. So we have those questions that you can go and choose and put it into your book. And the photo books are wonderful. Like I said, I've made so many of them. My grandparents love them. I make one every year for them. But I wanted to be able to write more than 5 words and say, you know, this is what we were doing while this was happening, because our grandparents are across the country. So when I put these books together about my children, I want to say, well, we were at the park this day and we were doing this, and this is what Lincoln is learning right now, or this is what they're doing, so that it's not just the picture, it's the story that goes along with it.
So I guess one more comment for me. To deliver on kind of marketing, traveling, talking to folks, that's actually, a lot of entrepreneurs don't set aside the resources and time to do that. Have you thought through like what you need in order to get that done? Is that just visiting places, or are you also putting digital acquisition budget, anything like that? Can you talk about that a little bit more?
My husband is very good about giving a budget to me, so we do have a marketing budget for all this travel, and basically as long as we are getting good feedback and everything seems to be going strong and we're making steps in developing this idea, we're going to keep going with it. So I can't say that I don't have anything to hand over to you and say this is what we're doing, but yes, that's all in our mind.
Emmy, I've got a question here to your
Yes.
right. So can you tell us a little bit more about the production process and how, I know it's still in development, but you mentioned having to get the information all the way to, I guess, the publishing company. Tell us a little bit more about what your expectations are and how that process should work.
Well, from the customer's standpoint, it's a click of a button. That's our goal. You will put your book together, you'll click a button, and it will go off to production, which is very different from creating a blog, because I know you can print books from blogs, but you have to physically take that information along with the pictures and transport it page by page into these book production websites to the producers. So with us, you're going to be able to click a button, it goes to the book producer, and then in 7 to 10 days, you get a book on your doorstep. So it's very clean on the customer side. On our side, it's much more complicated, as we've found putting it all together, but that's my development team's
A lot of moving pieces.
issue.
Emmy, I've got a question to your left.
Yeah.
Hi, what's your revenue model?
I would certainly be ready to share that with you. I mean, I don't know if I want to discuss out in the open everything with that. Are you talking about like how we're bringing in is just in general? It's a subscription-based website. There's a free option and then there's a paid option. The paid option has more benefits, obviously, than the free option, and then we're also making money from the books. Which the books, by the way, are very comparable to Shutterfly, because that's what I've done all of my photo books through. So we just made sure that we found a producer that could give us the books at a cost that we could pass on to the customer in the same. So yeah.
Emmy, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Currently, I store all my family memories on CompuServe. Okay, I'm over 30, sorry. So to me, like the big question would be, if I store memories on your website, there's been a lot of companies ahead of you that, offered services to the masses, and they're not around anymore. They had a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, tell us about how you're storing the data, and can somebody somehow export their data, in case something happens?
Yeah, it's all stored through, you might be able to answer this better than I can, actually, more technical.
I mean, as of right now, the information it's posted online. Like when you customize the book, it's kind of like you're copying and pasting it onto your template, and then at that point, it's exported off to the book manufacturer for printing. I don't believe at this point in time we don't have server space as far as saving the photographs for you. We're simply doing this to actually get you a tangible model, something like this, in which it can be printed off so that you can actually keep it for your own memories on your own bookcase. And then our next phase is to actually have we are actually looking to actually have a place where you can actually store it online, like a virtual bookshelf. We are creating that. We are actually in the process of doing that as of right now, which is part of the reason why we're still in beta testing. But once we do launch, it will be available.
Question here on your right. So I'm also a little curious about like your onboarding process. In your beta testing, how are you bringing on the users, and then how are you pretty much walking them through the process and understanding the system? I asked that question partially because you're entering into a highly competitive field, right? You mentioned like a vacation, perhaps. Someone takes a vacation, they want to keep the memory of it. Well, I noticed like on my last trip to San Francisco, I got home and my Google Plus pops up and says, here's a whole summary of your trip. And they had like all the pictures I took, all those types of things. So again, you're competing with some companies out there that are huge corporations with similar ideas that, they do back up all of my images. I never asked them to, but, they keep them, they back them up. So how, in your process, when you're bringing on the user, how are you guiding them through that user process is the first part that I'm curious about.
We are working on that right now, actually. Our developer has a great idea in almost like a walkthrough, all the
Introduction.
steps you can take, an introduction to the website and what you can do with it.
We're just trying to figure out what to call it, like something really cool and fun to call it that separates it from a blog or something like that. But it will be an option that will be available when the site is launched as well.
Yeah. And I know, again, you guys are doing great. This is your first presentation, but it's something to think about, as you guys move forward.
I think one other thing that sets it apart for sure, to also answer your question, is the fact that this is going to be more of an intimate, it's not necessarily social media where your pictures are being shared throughout the masses. It's for you to share with, your close friends. We want it to be so that your family can see this, not your people on Facebook and your Twitter feeds and all that stuff. You have the option to share, of course, your pictures with those social media, but we wanted to try to keep it a little bit closer.
I think it's a great idea. I have 3 young children, and I've never been able to find an app or anything electronically that I can capture all of this information, at least that looks good and is user-friendly. And that's, I guess, my question is, have you considered apps for phones and iPads? I really don't get on my computer anymore at night. I'm on my phone, and when we're on vacation, I'm snapping the picture with my phone. Voice dictation is always so great to be able to just capture all of that right then. That's, I would think, more your customer than the Shutterfly and the Google Plus books would be the on the fly, how do I get all of this in, and then prompting at whatever timeline it is to then get all that information printed. I get that you can't store it forever, but so basically the app scenario, have you considered that?
Absolutely. Currently, you will be able to use our website. I'm not even sure what the lingo was that our developer is trying to tell me the difference in everything, but mobile ready or mobile compatible or whatever it is, your iPad, iPhone, any of those devices, you'll be able to put information onto our website from. It's not, we don't have the actual little app to say yet, but we should have that soon, so that if you're at the park with the kids and they just do something outrageously funny that you want to capture in that moment, you'll be able to do it, at the click and type of a few words. That's really what we're meant for. And as far as your books and printing them and making sure that you're staying up to date, we are going to have those reminders to our customers with the intention of it being after major holidays, birthdays, things like that, saying, hey, you did this, or this holiday was just passed. Do you want to write anything about it? Do you want to write anything about summer break, whatever it may be, so that encourages our customers to write in their books. And then we also have it set up to where it tells you how far to completion you are in your book. So when you get 50% of the way through a book that could be printed, we'll let you know, you're 50% there. You have a book that's fully ready. You can print it right now and send it wherever you need to send it. One of the other things we are going to do, which is really exciting for me because I make books for my grandparents because they don't get to see my kids very often, but you'll be able to create a book for multiple people. So I'm creating a book for myself about my kids, but my mom was at that event with us. So I'll be able to save all that information to her book as well. And then on another event, my husband's mom is at the event, and I'll save it to her book. And then at the end of the year, if I want to send that out as a Christmas gift, it's already made. You don't have to do anything. You just click the button, order it, and it goes wherever you need it to go. That should help.
Emmy, I've got a question to the back, to your left.
Yeah, I heard you describe in your presentation some of the problems that got you started down this path with your family, and I see where you're at today, but I want you to fill in a gap for me. What kind of product research did you do? What kind of exploration with other solutions out there that just did not meet this need that caused you to say, I need to create something new?
Well, I guess Originally, it probably started with these baby books that I have for my kids that I never wrote anything in. I have them up here just as a little show and share. I know everybody has probably seen these where they have the questions. You can write down all of the details about your kids, usually through like 2 is what they're based. You know, you can get all of that. I've minimally written in those. So then I decided instead of doing that, I would try the Word document. So I did that for a while, but like I said, I would go 6 months or even a year sometimes, and I wouldn't write anything, and then I'd remember, and I'd go back in, and I would see the last date I wrote, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I forgot all of these great things that my kids did, and I'm trying to remember them, and they're just not as vivid. And in a Word document, you can't get your pictures in there as easily, at least not for me. So I did blogging for a little bit as well, because I know you can print books from blogs, and then you have everything that you've written, and you can get your pictures in there, but it just wasn't an easy process. So that's kind of the whole development on it. And I did research as far as apps, online resources to do this. Like I said, I used Shutterfly a lot, but it just didn't have, I wanted to write more, so that's really the basis for what we're doing is I want the stories. I want to tell the story about what was happening in the picture. So that's when I decided we would do this, especially after my husband's dad wrote all those journals for him. I mean, that's priceless information to have.
So a question here to your right. You mentioned Shutterfly, and as I listen to your presentation, I see there are some similarities. So what would you say is the biggest differentiating factor for you versus Shutterfly?
Collecting the stories. That's really the biggest thing. If you just want pictures, absolutely do the Shutterfly app, all of whatever you want to do with that. But we want the stories. We want to know what's happening in the picture. We want to know where you were, who you were with, what's going on in your children's life at the time. We did a book on our honeymoon, actually. That's our show and share book for when we do these presentations. And it's just all of the details on our honeymoon and all of the memories that I kept from it. And I put silly things in there like how much an airline ticket costs and how long it took to travel from here to there, only because I thought in 20 years when I look back at this book, that's going to be information that you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe an airline ticket cost this much back then, and I have the dates in there and how, everything that we did with it. So that's really the main difference is the stories, the information that you're putting in there.
Last question. What can we do as a community to help you?
As a community, we just need feedback. I have so many ideas on where I want to see this website going, but really what I'm looking for is, as a customer, as somebody else that's going to be using this website, what would you like to see it do? That's going to be the main thing that keeps us going strong and keeps us taking more steps to make our company better. And then obviously support Legendary Phoenix, support all entrepreneurs. I love coming to 1 Million Cups. I think it's such a great event. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Emmy. We have a couple of live announcements today. Before we get started with those, we also have a few announcements on our announcement sheet, so please pick those up from the back before you leave. First up is Zach Pettit from UMKC.
How's everybody doing this morning? All right, I love the energy. Okay, getting excited. Britain in the front row. All right, this is exciting. Good morning, my name's Zach Pettit. I'm here on behalf of UMKC. Initially, I was here to talk about Career Accelerator, but I'm throwing a curveball to Courtney right now and telling you about First Wednesdays today at UMKC. We are inducting John McDonald, the founder of Boulevard Beer, I'm hoping you all know, into the Entrepreneur Hall of Fame today. So 4 to 6, Block Executive Hall, no RSVP necessary, also no beer. But we can go get one afterwards, whatever. I never said that, but come join us, it'll be fun, and have a great morning. Thank you. Thanks, Courtney.
Thanks, Zach. And second up today, we have Adam Arredondo going to give us an update on Startup Grind.
Hey everyone, so I'm Adam Arredondo, co-leader of the Kansas City Startup Village, and also now the Kansas City chapter director for Startup Grind. If you haven't heard of Startup Grind, it's a monthly fireside chat style event. We kind of keep it intimate. No more than 50 people can come with a high-profile entrepreneur or thought leader in the entrepreneurial community in Kansas City. Next Thursday, we're hosting Leo Morton, who's the chancellor of UMKC, and also was just recognized as a 2014 Kansas Citian of the Year. So again, we will provide food and beer. It's a $10 ticket. We're capping it at 50 people, and it's in the new Village Square co-working studio in the Kansas City Startup Village, which this will be the first public event in there. So a couple cool things to check out. It is next Thursday, February 12th from 6 to 9. So I just want to let you all know. Hope you can make it.
Thanks, Adam. Our second presenter today is going to show us a new idea on how to pay it forward. I would like to welcome Adam Bidden of the Acts of Good Journal.
Thank you so much. Trying to get my mic in my pocket. It's not working. All right. Good morning. Thanks for coming out this morning. It's a big crowd. I'm excited to share with you guys the Acts of Good Journal. So we'll start with the video. Here we go. This journal was created to inspire acts of good. Each are individually numbered and shipped to you as a blank canvas with one question. What will you do with it? Once you receive your journal, register it online. This is the only way to receive it back after all 12 acts have been completed. To start the journal, simply do an act of good for someone and give them the journal. It is then passed from one person to the next, capturing the stories of where it goes, what it does, and the lives touched along the way. After all 12 acts have been completed, the journal will be mailed back to you as a well-traveled piece. Something special to hold, touch, and experience. To be kept as a reminder of how you made the world a better place. There we go. Thanks. Yeah, so I created the Acts of Good journal as an opportunity to inspire good throughout the world. Check out the clicker here. So I'm going to walk you through kind of the stories of why I started it. I'm then going to talk a little bit more about the journal itself and our business model. So here we go. So the Acts of Good journal was created to, and I think the most obvious answer for me was to inspire acts of good. But as an entrepreneur, and as many of you are entrepreneurs in this room, you understand it's a lot more than that. So for me, my path was focused on, I wanted to create and sell a quality and lifetime product. It's something that came under my bucket list last year, and it's something I wanted to focus on. I want to have a work-life balance that's fun, creative, and exciting. That's very obvious. I think everybody wants that. I want to increase our annual household revenue, right? I mean, that's why we're starting this, and I hope that every entrepreneur out here, that's one of the main goals, and that if you can blend that with something you're passionate about, what a phenomenal opportunity. I wanted to meet amazing people. We've done this for about 6 months now and just launched it in December, and since then, I've probably met some of the most incredible people in the entire world. So that's going for me. I want people to step away from their devices, spend some time with a pen. I think that it's really interesting that a physical journal is now a book, something you touch and feel, tangible, is now nostalgic because we've replaced it with devices. But when you do hold it, it does something that's really special to you that I'm kind of happy about. I wanted to connect people and their communities together. And as I show you kind of how the journal travels from one person to the next, I think you'll see that that happens really well. And in the end, I think something really powerful for me, the overarching goal is to show that a single act can change the world. So I'm going to kind of show you how. So we're going to recap how it works, because I want you guys to really understand the process here. So really quickly, you buy a journal. You register it online. So that's how we know it's tracked. Each journal comes with a specific tracking number, and when you register it, that's how it's assigned to you. And simply, you do an act of good for someone and give them the journal. It's the pay it forward model kicking off. And then at this point, the journal is then passed from one person to the next, asking them questions like, what's the date? Where are you in the world? What act of good was done for you? How did it impact and affect your lives? And then it prompts you to pass it on. This happens 12 different times, collecting the stories of where it went, what it did, and the lives it changed along the way. And in the end, there's a prepaid envelope in the back of every journal. You pull out, I could show you right here, that you pull out, and the journal's returned back to your home, filled with stories, kind of like an old passport, to be kept on your coffee table for a lifetime. One really cool thing about the journal is that we created an online piece for it. We're in the technical world. We couldn't have made it completely nostalgic. So we created a way that you can track your journal online. So every time it's passed from one person to the next, it's then checked in with a couple quick questions, like where are you in the world and do you want to get updates on where it goes after it leaves you. So it's really cool. You can see, and so every time it's checked in, everyone within this group will receive an email, and it'll say, hey, your journal's in Bozeman, Montana. It's traveled 4,228 miles, and it's been away from you for 67 days. And it's on active good number 7. So you get a chance to kind of wonder and to think and imagine of what's happening along this path. So that's how it works. That's the basics of it. I wanted to walk through the business model with you because that's why we're here, and that's the entrepreneurial direction that we're all striving for. So we're very open, transparent within our business. We have 3 verticals of our revenue. One are our journal sales. Very straightforward. We sell them online on actsofgood.com, and we also sell them through retail outlets. Our MSRP, each journal sells for $34.95, and we wholesale them at $19.22. So it's very straightforward. We can get through that. Love for you to all have one. The second thing that we do, and it's something we just started doing, and I've had a lot of attention with this, name dropping or branded journals. Name dropping is like the industry term. It's something that's really impressive. We had a camp contact us recently wondering if we could name drop their name on the journals, put their logo on the cover of the journal, et cetera. After we got through conversations, we realized that we could do a lot more for you. So this created an entire new sales model for our organization, where when you name drop journals or brand your journals, you have a minimum of 2,000. We sell them for $22.62 each, and it's great. So we can go in and we could create the cover for you, however you'd like, update end sheets. We have 98 different images throughout the journal that we can supplement your photos for. So in this sense, for this camp, they've got tons of camp photos, tons of quotes that we can supplement and really brand it around this organization, this business, or this group that wants to kind of permeate their brand a little different than what they've been doing. The third and last revenue model that we've been working on, and this is a really fun thing that we've been doing, it's exciting, is a sponsored act of good. They start at $5,500, and here's how these work. We've got a network of incredible videographers, as you saw in the video that we've just showed. Very talented individuals that I've got to work with for the last couple of years. And what we do is we go out into the community, and on behalf of the business, we do an act of good for them. Capture it with a video, give them a 60-second advertisement, and about a 5-minute Q&A, behind-the-scenes sort of video. And so what this does is it gives a business the opportunity to cash in on that. We want to do good in our community. We want to connect. We want to build our relationships. However, we don't have the resources or the time to put into that. So if we can partner with an organization or a business that can help us accomplish that goal, then it's really easy for us to come in and to come up with some ideas. A couple ideas that we've been throwing around are we're talking with a coffee company, a local coffee company in town, to set up a stand in downtown Kansas City and on the plaza one early morning when it's freezing outside, and to hand out cups of coffee, cups of hot chocolate for free to anybody who walks by, and just say, on behalf of the community, the coffee company, and us, we hope you have a great day. And just to kind of capture a really unique viral-esque video around that. So we've been having a lot of fun with that. Our goal is to do 12 this year and one a month, and help businesses brand themselves as a do-good business, but without taking over all of their own company resources. That said, so our vision is really straightforward. It's really easy. Growth, obviously, that's in journal sales, that's in sponsored journals or branded journals, and that's also in making sure that we can sell 12 sponsored acts each year. Creating a brand identification or an identifiable brand. You use the term household name. That's a great terminology for that. And it would be nice to be known as a household name. The Acts of Good Journal. Oh yeah, that's the gift you give someone who you can't buy anything for. That's the gift that you give to every college student graduating. This to be a gift that that everyone has on their coffee table, and it's a very known product, and that kind of goes right into the we want to become the gift product. I don't think it's too far off. I think it matches what a lot of people are looking for, and I'm really passionate about it. So I definitely hope that we can get there. That's pretty much it. I'd love to open up any questions and see what you guys have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. We're going to start with our panelists first.
So I'm going to steal Bob's question because it's a good one, but I think you actually touched on parts of it. Kind of what's your goal for the business? And can you talk about, it sounds like you maybe have some traction points showing how you're moving along that goal. So can you talk about those things?
Yeah, certainly. So goals for the business are really focus on those three verticals, I guess, that we focus on internally. We launched it in December, so it kind of goes as an entrepreneur month to month. And December, we thought, let's just sell as much as we can. We're late to the party of getting into the Christmas spirit, I guess. So let's go to the friends and family. Let's go to Facebook. Is that the new F? Are fools Facebook now? Friends, family, fools, now Facebook. So we did as much as we could to get it out there into the world before Christmas. We had a great Christmas year. January kind of dips, and so we kind of started going, what else is out there? So the majority of our time is now spent getting journals in retail stores, talking about it. I feel like having conversations around the journal is really important because we typically get a really good response from it. So journal sales, obviously want to increase those. If we could get into a couple of camps this summer, that would be phenomenal. And then, the third is just, I think I kind of mentioned it, is just getting into those featured acts, doing a couple of them, getting that going, because I think what happens is when you could partner with a brand and you can, that's doing well and doing good, and you can get a video out there that's semi-viral, or even if it's just community-based viral, I think that it's going to increase the awareness about what we're doing, et cetera. So I think if we can fire on each one of those verticals, I think it really allows us to feel like we're going in the right direction.
And are you planning to do that through bootstrapping? Something looks like you're kind of fully bootstrapped right now. How's the funding side of that look?
Yeah, fully bootstrapped. We work out of our garage. We do this. Each journal is numbered by me personally. Thank you. Yeah, my wife and I, we've stuffed envelopes. We have 5,000 journals sitting in a garage ready to go out. So we, luckily enough, got it published through a small publishing company, and they said, here are the books, now go sell them. And so really, so yeah, bootstrapping it is as pure of a description as what we're doing.
That's terrific. I'm a journalist by training. I grew up in the limited edition collectibles world, so everything you're talking about really resonates with me. I'll repeat it because I think it cannot be repeated often enough. Congratulations for taking an idea, making it a physical business, as opposed to sitting here in 2017 and somebody else standing up there going, I thought of that back in 2014. I wish I would be doing it. So congratulations on that. Also, congratulations on a really nice presentation. I think a lot of people would share my observation when we start thinking about tactical questions over strategic questions. You've really done a nice job of presenting your business to us. In that spirit, I'll ask a couple tactical questions. Why not an association with another Goodwill or nonprofit to help accelerate your distribution?
That's a great question. I feel like there's a lot of that going on out there. A lot of people are trying to attach themselves to brands, build up, that perfect PR model. Find a business that's doing really well, attach to them, and then now you're doing as well as that business. But for us, I felt like this had enough legs to stand on its own. We do offer some partnership opportunities through sales, profit sharing if you're a nonprofit or an organization and you want to sell our journal within your realm. Yeah, we'll share profit with you, absolutely. We have a program where we give $5 of every journal back to the organization which it's selling. But technically attaching ourselves hip to hip to another organization just wasn't something I feel like doing at this exact moment.
Very good. And so the tracking of the journal itself requires human interaction. Was there any discussion or has there been any thought about something, and I don't know if the technology exists because this is beyond my realm, but something like an RFID tag or something in each one of these books so I don't have to rely on human interaction. I can merely look at my app and go, oh, my book's in Wyoming or Montana.
You've been talking to my brother.
He owes me money, by the way.
He does, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool idea. It's just not technically feasible right now. An RFID tag, has a scale that's just only so broad. A GPS needs power. So yeah, over drinks we've had these conversations. I think that's where they stay for now. Checking it in, it gives a more human element. And really one thing that we'd like to do with the checking in, I had a good friend tell me the other day how great tribes are in businesses. She used the term tribes, groups, friends, etc., and how a journal like this one, journal number 348, will have a tribe of 12. And these people will be scattered all across the world and give them the opportunity to come together. So really the next step in checking in is to give the option to personify who that pin is. So whether it's through tagging your Instagram account, tagging your Facebook, trying to give the ability to say, if you want to, feel free to connect, leave comments, kind of socialize with this group, share it online. But right now, you're just a pin. But hopefully we'll change that here pretty soon. Thanks for the question. It's a good one.
So there may be some technical things, but not to derail the conversation. On the IP side, is it when they check in, it's just location and name, or are you asking them to take a picture of the page? Because I imagine there's going to be a lot of very interesting stories as you get your 5,000 in your garage out in people's hands times 12. What are your thoughts on kind of the IP and really the stories that are being generated there?
Certainly. I think that's a great question. Right now, the way it works is if you want to look up your journal, you technically go to our library page, you enter in the number associated with the journal, or you can enter in your email address if you have multiple journals attached to you. And then, obviously, you would populate multiple here. And then it comes in your journal 5003. This is a test that we did to show completed journals, but you can see that it's traveled to multiple locations. You can see how far it traveled and how long it took. So yeah, it would be really cool. Right now, what we collect, I guess to answer your question directly, is we collect your email address, the journal number, the act that you're on, and where you are in the world. And the email address is just so if you want to join in the group to see where it goes after you pass it on, you can get in, and track it. But it would be really fun, as I said, to add a photo of where the journal is right now, or what happened, or what act of good was done for you. Did someone buy you a new car, or did you have your gutters cleaned for you, or just a simple cup of coffee? But it would be fun to provide that. And I think Instagram will provide a really good platform for that. And utilizing their APIs, we're already kind of diving down into that. Just trying to figure out how to display it on the screen to make sure that the user has a good experience. Hover over states. When you start dealing with mobile, hover over states kind of get a little blurry. And I feel like this is a really mobile platform. We made it all responsive. So yeah, it's just kind of diving through those design questions, but right now we're just really proud of what we have so far. Thank you.
Last question for me. What's your, it's a really simple idea, which is great for an entrepreneur, but it's bad because there's no barrier to entry. What would be your response to the concern that, second Hallmark reference in the day, that they don't open up with their 3,000 points of distribution and just take this thing and you guys become irrelevant?
That's a perfectly good question. For us right now, we've talked to our IP attorney, and a lot of what we've done is protected through our trademark. But quite honestly, I think most entrepreneurs don't have the resources to go through and to do a process patent, for instance, would be a really good thing to do here. It ranges anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000, and it's a crapshoot because it's a very broad thing that you're trying to patent, the process. But for me, it's get to market as fast as possible, get the largest distribution as possible, create a good name around it, and hope that your product stands on its own 2 feet. Yeah, I welcome competitors. It's the Acts of Good journal, right? If we're creating more good, I'm all for it.
Adam, we want to open this up to the audience. We've got a few questions here.
We've got a question from Twitter. How many books have been sold, and then how many have been completed and returned back to that owner?
Great question, Twitter. So we've sold about 300 journals now. I think, yeah, just over 300 journals to date. Thank you. And none have been returned yet. But we just started selling them in December. And for us, I kind of think that it's a 3 to 6 month process in order there's 12 acts of good. It gives everyone a couple weeks to think about what they're going to do, to write about it, and then to pass it on. So it's, ask me in a couple months. I'll probably have a better answer for you.
So on that same note, have you thought about how you're going to facilitate if the notebook gets somewhere and it just kind of sits?
Absolutely. I feel like I planted you for that question, but I didn't. So we've created a 3-week reminder. So if, for instance, I gave the journal to my brother, and it's just sitting in the back of his truck for a month, and I'm going, dude, I did an act of good for you. You are such a, like, let's get it going here. It's really nice because every 3 weeks, or after 3 weeks, the last person to check it in, so me, I would get an email and saying, hey, we're just checking in. Wanted to see how things were going. The journal hasn't been checked in yet. And they get a chance to respond to say, oh, actually, it's cold, and I'm wanting to take my dad skydiving in May. And so it's very simple. It automatically responds that, yeah, this is where it is, and we'll leave you alone for a while. So yeah, we want to make sure that attrition is the last thing on anyone's mind, and that the journal makes it full circle. And we actually implemented something that if you have, and it hasn't gone anywhere, and it's just been lost, we'll send you a new journal. Don't worry about it. It's something that we want to do to follow the Patagonia North Face lifestyle mindset of we want everybody to have a journal and to finish it.
Adam,
Go ahead.
I've got a question here, but first, if I help my dad get his email working on his computer, does that count?
I think so. I think so. Is your dad here? He's right there? Oh, nice. Way
Adam,
to put you on the spot.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Thank you for your presentation. I'm certainly interested. I just have a question about the flow. For me, I think I would feel awkward about handing someone a journal saying, look at what I did for you. But I think I would feel a lot less awkward if someone did good to me And then I gave them that journal and said, thank you for doing that. And so I'm just kind of interested in why you chose to go after the person apparently doing the good as opposed to the person receiving a good.
It's a great question. For us, I think it's about, like in all things, it's about tact and how you go about it. I mean, if you hand someone a journal and say, look what I did for you, you know, how good am I? You're just that guy anyways, and so that's just how it's going to work. But, you know, if you give it, we like to think of using the journal as the card. Inside the journal, when you pass it on, there's a really nice spot. You'll see it over there if you want to. There's a really nice spot that says, a message to you. And there is a, we've got a ribbon right there. And so when they open it up, it says, hey, you're the third act of good to receive this journal. And on the right-hand side of the page, there's an area that says, hey, Mike, love you so much. You've been such an important part in my life. And I'm really excited that this is happening for you. So I just wanted to give you this simple gift to commemorate what's going on. Love you, Adam. And I think that right there, that story, that passing it on, the paying it forward, yeah, it could be a little garish if you're not careful, but for us, that made the most sense because it inspires you to do an act of good for someone. The retroactive model, I don't know, pretty lucky if you're getting that many acts of good taking place all at once.
Question here on your right.
A great presentation and good concept. It's kind of hard to poke holes in, so congratulations.
Thank you.
One idea, like sort of opportunity I see, it might help kind of maybe kickstart is I think this could have some good applications in corporate environments.
Yeah.
Right? Have you explored that at all?
Are you saying internally or like within? Yeah.
And it becomes a thing. You go and talk to the HR person, and it's like, hey, we're going to do this thing, and the book's going to hang in the trophy room, you know. But it's a way to engage employees to do good things.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, in December, it initially started. The corporate conversation was around having it be a corporate gift. So many corporations send the cheese, wine, and chocolates over Christmas to their clients. How great it would be to send them something a little more creative, something that's going to, I don't know, inspire the brand that you're trying to create. That turned into, what if we kept this within a business? And they created 20 of them to spark, you know, that's going on. And it's kind of like a Secret Santa almost, ask of different acts of good taking place. So yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea, getting in front of those HR people, without having to pick up the phone and call every single HR person. I think it's just part of our marketing plan as we go forward is planting those seeds. Also heard from a good friend earlier this morning that they own an architecture firm here in town, and they're doing a peer-to-peer passing through different architecture firms through acts of good. So it's kind of, it can also be industry-based and have fun, kind of seeing where it goes.
We've got a question here in the middle.
Yeah.
Hi, so you kind of addressed this a little bit when the question was asked about the tracker and about it getting stopped. But I was curious to know if a person was down on their luck and they don't have access to a phone or a computer, if you thought about maybe including a couple extra maybe envelopes where they could send in their tracking or registration in a way that does not include technology if, you know, they're homeless or, yeah, like I said, down on their luck?
Yeah, that's a great question and really heartfelt, and I appreciate that. Right now, it's not something that we're a part of, but it's also nice that you don't have to check it in. You know, if this went to my Ruthie and Cecil, my grandparents, they're not going to check it in. They're going to fill it out, and they're going to stick to the nostalgic pen and paper. What? Yeah. So they're just going to pass it on without checking it in. And it's nice because whenever the next person checks it in, they're going to say, I'm on the 5th act, and it'll just skip right over them. But it's a great question.
Adam, we're short on time, but you've got a couple hundred people here. What act of good can we do for you today?
Absolutely. Thanks for the prompted question. So, how can you help? Very straightforward and obvious right now. Through sales, right? Buy a journal. Buy a journal for a friend. Buy a journal for your whole family. It would be awesome. But then also, if you know of retail stores that you think you'd want this to be in, message us. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We've got a bunch of cards over there with our email address on it and our website. So if you know of stores locally that would be a great fit for this, right now we're in a couple stores. We're in T-Loft, nice little tea-bar, lunch place. I love it. And then we're in George, an interior design store. And both of those happened completely randomly, completely reached out to us. So we really haven't gone out there and said, where can you be? We're in talks with getting it into Hallmark, but we'll let you see about that. Hallmark, wherever you are. And a sponsored acts of good. That's a big revenue stream for us. That, I think, is what's going to allow us to stick around and to continue to focus a lot of attention on this. It's a high value or dollar value product that we sell compared to $34.95, but I think it has a huge value to businesses. So if you know businesses out there that want to participate with that, send them our way, contact us. Let's just talk about it. And then if you know anyone through name drop journals, that would be really important too. Just kind of connect us as much as possible. Would be really important. The next is, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. I'm the worst Twitter person in the world, so don't try to follow me there just yet, you. But follow us on Facebook. Invite all of your friends to like us on Facebook. We do a peer-to-peer program where we give you a journal, and we want you to post about it and invite your friends about it. So reach out to me if you'd like to do that on Facebook. It allows us to reach a broad audience, and we've done it for the last couple months, and it's allowed us to reach a pretty good number of people on Facebook in a relatively short period of time. And then lastly, if you guys know Ellen or Oprah, it would be really great if you guys can introduce us. It would be wonderful. But thank you really again for being here. We appreciate it so much.
Great. Thanks, Adam. Adam has some books over there that you can open up and see. It's very impressive. So I invite you to do that. And I know we had a bunch of questions we didn't have a chance to get to. So please connect with Adam afterwards. For the first-timers, I hope you enjoyed it today. Raise your hand if you're coming back. Be back. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. Hey, quick announcement. There's a business center down the hall here that's kind of usable while we're doing our 9 to 10, but after that, we're really not supposed to be in there. So we've had to kick out a few people recently, and we're going to kind of have to watch that. So please, if you need to meet with somebody or something, you can hang out in here for a little bit or out in the foyer, but not too long. And then I invite you to go to the Sprint Accelerator is having a co-working space today for us. So you're welcome to check that out in the Crossroads. That's it for today. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you next week.